Hello, everyone. Welcome to the network. Welcome to the Two Dads edition.
Wait, that's not it.
Start again. What's up, fat fucker?
Two Dads, Gen X edition. That's a great beginning.
And go.
Welcome to Two Dads, Gen X edition. Today, we're talking about cell phones over the decades.
And remember to hit that like and subscribe button for future content and alerts when we drop new episodes every Tuesday.
Let's do that this shit.
That was craziness.
All right. Well, welcome back. Today we've got an awesome topic. This is one I think that's going to Pulitzer. This is going to give us a Pulitzer.
This is pretty deep.
It's a really deep one.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so deep that
How deep is it?
most porn stars won't even go near it.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Okay.
Dirk Diggler has nothing on this. Again, as a Gen X person, you know who that is.
Yeah.
Anyone under 30 probably has.
Probably. Yeah, you have to look it up, I guess. But no, we're going to talk about cell phones today.
Cell phones. Yeah, I mean, our last topic, self-made and everything, you brought up a good point on, cell phones. And I had a lot of good jokes.
Oh, yeah?
Good memories. That I'm like, what the fuck? I can't believe this is not a topic. And so,
Well, now it's a topic.
so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome. We got James and Dawson.
What's up?
Two dads on Gen X.
Gen X edition. Woot, woot.
Cell phones.
Cell phones. So my family actually had one of those Motorola bricks.
Yeah.
One of those original ones. It was like 15.
I cured someone with one of those.
Really?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
so you get the fuck out of my house.
So we'll edit that out because
Obviously, I didn't. So you
no self-incrimination.
you can.
No, my parents had one of those because my dad was down in the city and stuff like that. But we had not like we had tons of cell phones. My parents had cell phones. Back when they were like a rare thing.
The bag phone.
That we had a bag phone. That was powerful. You could be out in the boondocks and still be able to get signal.
I remember my stepdad. He had a Geostorm.
Oh yeah.
And to
Great little cars.
impress the ladies, he had a cell phone in the car. And it was like,
It wasn't like a rotary phone that he just kind of dumped it.
this little
Stuck the wire in the glove box.
mouse phone. And,
Yeah.
do
Remember when they used to put you'd have the extra antenna you'd put on the outside of his back window?
that's what he had. Yeah,
That's what he had.
Yeah.
Man, over.
He
To
had-
extend the signal range.
It was so stupid. And I remember one time we're running late and he's like, call your mom really quick and let her know we're running late. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta use the cell phone. This is so cool. And like I dialed and it rang and like she answered.
You thought you were hot shit.
I was like, hey mom. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing on the cell phone? I was like,
Oh my goodness.
Greg told me, he's like, hurry up, you got 32 seconds.
Oh gosh.
I
Yeah.
was like, what? He goes, 30, 29, 28. I'm like, what are we doing? He's like,
Yeah.
tell her we're going to be home. I'm like, what are you doing?
$5 for the minute.
No, it's like $35 a minute. And he's like, hurry up. It was like 10, 9. And he's literally driving, counting down. and I still never fucking told my mom that we were running late. And he like grabs the phone at 5 seconds and hangs up and slams it down and goes, you didn't do your job. I'm like, I just go use the cell phone. I was so happy.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, our kids don't know what life is like without a cell phone. They don't know what peak or off-peak time is.
Oh my God, yeah.
Or like, you wanted everybody to call you because it was free.
Yeah. Well, then the government passed the double dipping where you got charged both ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. And they still technically do that. Charge
But-
both ways.
What I thought was really interesting is cell phones. It used to be that you were getting smaller and smaller, and that's how you knew you had money is because the person with money had a tiny cell phone.
Yeah, it got so tiny that it was like your pinky. And they actually had a flip phone that was
What was
the
that?
size of a finger.
Oh, what movie was that?
It was a Motorola. That was a real phone.
That was like Blue Steel. The whole like.
Oh yeah, it was Zoolander.
Yeah, Zoolander. We had that tiny little thing.
But that phone actually worked. That was actually a real phone that was made in China. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but that used to be the thing is a tiny phone. Now everybody's like you're carrying around a computer screen. Yeah.
They're like, I actually saw a guy using his iPad as a phone. Trinity's holding it up. Gets his head. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm on my way. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's he doing? But he was FaceTiming without the video. It was just cracking me up. But
Well, I mean, honestly, if it was just phone calls, we could probably make them super tiny.
the nice
These aren't cell phones. These are computers. These are portable computers.
Oh yeah. Well, and we were talking about that yesterday. To a gal that she's the.
You just aged yourself. You said gal.
And you.
I don't say gal. I'm Gen X, but I'm not that old.
What's the new generation?
I don't know.
Boom.
Lazy.
Boomba or something like that. It's like a stupid ass name. A fucking Gerber or somebody was like, we're gonna donate to every Boomba
Gen X
baby or something like that.
The only reason why we're Gen X is because it's a place marker. They couldn't come up with a name.
And really, Gen Y is like, why the fuck are these people so fucked up? I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? It really, we named them why because we literally were going, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why? And now, why are phones so expensive?
Well, and then
you're looking at $2,000.
I always hear with my dad. My dad would always follow that up with, "Are you crazy or something?" Because he's German. He has a German accent. "Are you crazy or something? What are you doing?"
Dad, get out! The fire's the house out!
Yeah.
It's just like,
Awesome. No, but I mean, yeah. So cell phones, like I remember when my oldest daughter got her first cell phone. It was an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was the biggest mistake in the world.
I agree. I think with
she took advantage of it so much.
Bullying, the abuse, the parental bullying of kids. Shawnee Mission and Blue Valley, they've had more suicides due to online bullying. I watched my daughter go through hell. These kids don't, if they don't get the likes, then they're not popular. They're not liked by anybody if they don't get their likes.
Well, that's more social media than cell phone, but cell phones make social media that it's in your face all the time.
But that's what brought it here is the cell phones. And, I found it funny that Bill Gates didn't allow his kids to have cell phones till they're 18.
Honestly, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. And honestly, I never would have got Kira a phone if it wasn't for the divorce.
Yeah.
Like we were saying 16 until she could have one, but then we got divorced when she was 10. And my big thing is, like my kids learned to take care of your shit for me just because, we talked about that, how the older stuff we have, later this CD players and stuff like that in our comical hour of doing our first podcast. We'll put that up for everybody just to listen to and see how it failed the first time. Like kids having cell phones and stuff like that. And now, like you said, that people every fucking year have to get the new and greatest. Zuckerberg just stated that
not just the newest and greatest, their 5-year-old gets the newest and greatest.
Yeah, iPads. You got dipshits on TikTok smashing phones on purpose just to get likes. Before cell phones, pagers. What did your parents have a rule like to call them at a certain time and stuff like that?
Nope.
No. So my mom, because I was so active in sports and community and stuff like that, she got me a pager, which was like, what, $3 a month kind of thing.
We never got pagers. I got a pager like when I was like 18, 19 because I bought the pager.
I had 5 minutes to call her back. If I didn't call her back within 5 minutes, I was grounded for a week. And it wasn't just like today's grounding. It was like no computer, can't leave the house. You have to sit in your room, shit in the toilet without paper, kind of stuff like that. But
that's healthy.
She really did do that. She was actually really mom. But I remember when it went from, so I always had a quarter in my shoe so I could call my mom. And I remember watching Terminator 2 at AMC Plaza, which is now a Target across from Oak Brook Mall. I remember sitting there and the pager goes off. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I get up, running outside, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, fuck, it's my mom. Okay, cool. But it was only my mom, no one pager device, right? I did my drug deals or whatever. And I remember running to the payphone, Yeah, don't exist anymore. No, God, man, so many things have gone away. And I remember putting the quarter in, and it's like, please deposit another 10 cents. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I look up, it's 35 cents.
So I remember when that changed.
I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, and I think I was like a sophomore in high school. And so I'm like, anybody got a dime? Anybody got a dime? And like, no, man, no, man. I'm like, can I use your phone? No, no. I'm like, seriously, I'm going to get grounded if I don't call my mom. They're like, sorry, man. I'm like, anybody have a dime? So I'm like begging people for dimes. And people would give me like a penny here, a penny there. I'm like, no, I need a fucking dime. It's like, give me a dime. And
26, 27, 20.
And you know, but you put a penny in it, just kick it out. Yeah. And so I was just like, oh my gosh. So I got grounded for a week because I couldn't call. And I
the way that we would do it is we'd call collect.
Well, for some reason, it wouldn't let you do it on that phone. But I tried that.
Yeah, because like we'd go, you know, when I was a kid in New York in Scarsdale, there's a Scarsdale pool, which is like 4 pools, you know, and so we got like a diving pool and an Olympic swimming pool and like a kid pool. It's like a foot deep, and then they have an intermediate where it goes like 2.5 to like 4. And so my parents would just drop us off.
Oh yeah, the pool, yeah,
yeah. And we'd be there for, you know, a few hours, and they'd say, okay, when you need a ride, give us a call. So we'd go and call collect, you know, say,
it's a baby boy.
Yeah, this is James at the pool, ready to be picked up. Like the commercial, yeah, we had a baby, it's a boy. Who was that? Hey, Josh, they had a baby, it's a boy. Yeah. But that's what we would do. And then it would get rejected. Yeah. That's how we knew that they got the message. And then 20 minutes later, somebody showed up and picks up.
That's awesome.
But my parents at one point, too, like when I was a teenager, and this is after we moved here, I think it was, they actually paid for an 800 number to call the house.
Oh.
So that we didn't have to worry about not having money to call if we needed something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So there was an 800 number, and it would just dial into the phone. Because my dad had the capacity to work from home too. And so it was just
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like one of my memories that you know, ages you. And you're just like, oh my God.
So what, now at this point, with the kind of technology that we have and where these generations are, what do you think is too young for a cell phone?
I honestly under 16.
Yeah, I wasn't just getting
pornography. Pornography so bashed. Amanda's kids. This was a great teaching moment. It was one of those things where, got on her iPad and it was just porn everywhere, and she was 7.
Jeez.
And, you know, they were laughing about it and like thinking it was funny and stuff like that. But then it became a real topic, and you know, Amanda handled it very well, and, you know, we did too. But, you know, my thing is like, yeah, you don't get a fucking phone.
Yeah.
If you can't control what you're looking at and know that that's wrong, then you don't deserve to have a phone because you don't know right from wrong, kind of thing. And
yeah, because 7 years old, you don't know.
Yeah. And, you know, and their thing is, and the sad thing is it projected into other behavior that was inappropriate and experimenting and stuff like that. And I don't think I'm not in that situation anymore because I couldn't stay in that situation.
So you'd say 7 or 16?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the last person I dated, you know, they gave their kids an iPad and stuff like that, and basically discovered she was watching porn. And I think that steamrolled into getting the likes, and nobody likes me because they're not friends with me, and why won't they pay attention to me? And, you know, I just watched, you know, her other daughter post all these provocative pictures at age 10 kind of thing, trying to get likes, and then 19 boyfriends kind of scenario. And it's just, and I watched my daughter just being bullied beyond words, you know, through cell phones.
Horrible, because your daughter's a sweet kid.
Oh, she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And the mental anguish it did. And then you got these fucking schools that are promoting it, you know, that are like,
yeah, they're promoting it by not doing anything.
And, you know, like, oh, you have to have the greatest and latest laptop. Oh, no kid left behind, but, oh, they can't afford a computer, so sorry, we're going to let you borrow one, you know, kind of thing. And now I love that New Jersey is passing a law that kids have to come, when they come to school, they have to put it in one of the foil bags, and they actually lock it up all day.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the convenience of getting hold of your kids and knowing where they're at is interesting. And, you know, it was against the law for the cell phone to tell you where your kid was back in the day until that girl got kidnapped from that Target that I literally just mentioned and was taken up north.
Yeah.
And the dad, it's like, hey, my daughter called me, then it cut off. Can you tell me where she's at? They're like, oh, no, we need a warrant. And they were able to prove that if they gave him that, they could have saved her before she got raped and murdered and thrown into a river. You know, and that's when that law got passed that
That's what I think, like,
to share information to the police. Where
yeah, which is good that they passed that,
but now everything tracks everything. You know where everybody's at, everything's doing.
Well, and people drop pins of where they are, and they're you know, check-ins and stuff are now old. But when I was in, so I had a secret clearance in the Army. Not because I'm special or my job was all this secret high tech whatever, but there was certain information that I would have access to for the equipment and the capacity and all that kind of stuff that, you know, is secret. But in that process, one of the things that they would teach you about that you'd go through briefings on is like, how do you protect information and how easy it is to be giving up information that you don't realize you're giving up.
Yeah.
And so like I was in the Army Times years ago, just a picture of me while I was deployed. They had to take that picture like 8 or 9 times because there couldn't be any identifying information anywhere in the photo, in the original metadata of the photo.
Yeah.
They couldn't edit out like a serial number for a computer screen. And even the serial number of a computer screen was identifying information that they couldn't do anything with. But like with cell phones and stuff, you know, somebody takes a picture. I know, right? Big Brother's always watching. But you take a picture of you and your friends, a selfie at a restaurant or something like that. Well, if people know what the restaurant is, now they know where you are, when you're there, who you're with. Depending on what's in the background, they can tell you what you're drinking. They can tell what you're eating. They can tell. There's a lot of information. You take a picture of your house or your car, and the license plate's in there. Well, now somebody can find you.
Yeah.
You know, if you are like saying, "Oh, can't wait to go on vacation," well, now people know you're not home.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. And so it's like there's so much data.
This thing in the 2000s, you know, it's like don't post your vacation until after you're home,
right? You know, and it's just good information. But now people are just throwing it all out there. You know,
it's amazing how. And then this is honestly driven by women. I think before the Patriot Act, they were trying to pass a law that basically gave the FBI, CIA, everybody to just listen and do what they want at any given time. And that's why that conspiracy theory is, you know, we helped 9/11 happen to pass the Patriot Act, which basically is the exact same law that they were trying to get passed that got vetoed. But they found that if most women in America will give up their freedom to feel safe.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of where the Gen X generation is now. Fuck you.
Right. Yeah. Stay out of my business.
It's like,
I think
it's my business. You do your own thing.
Yeah.
And it's across every race, every gender.
It is just our generation.
It's just our generation is like, no, fuck you. I'm not going to do it.
Well, and it's like, it's funny though, because like, you know, here's my little iPhone. It's constantly listening all the time.
Yeah. That's not,
you know, I've gotten to the point to where it's like, I don't really care.
Well, and that's
in the sense that
that's the subtle, the
passive listening or whatever.
Well, it's the submissive.
Well, no, it's like I don't
submissive relinquishing or freedom. As you're they do it so slow they don't realize you're giving up your freedom.
Oh, I'm aware of it.
Yeah,
but one of the things that happened too in the military is I had to put. You know how you're supposed to like keep your social security number secret and private and all that kind of stuff. You know how many documents in the military require your social security number?
Everything
that gets copied and you know separated out to multiple departments.
Yeah,
it's like there's a comic where it's like somebody from the 50s and they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't talk about this. My phone might be wiretapped. They don't want them listening. Then the next panel is, hey, wiretap. How do you convert teaspoons to cups? You know, something like that. It's doing a recipe. You know, what's the recipe for this? But they call it, hey, wiretap, because it's always listening.
Yeah.
You know, when you say, hey, Siri.
And
it pops up.
Mine never works.
Yeah?
Probably because I can't pronunciate Siri.
Yeah, but it's just like, hey, Siri. Yep, there it is.
See, mine does.
Yeah.
Mine never comes up. But yeah, and then you look at the cancer.
The radiation stuff.
So, our bodies.
That's why I'm getting migraines.
Our bodies have what's basically an energy field, and anytime you introduce any metal, electronic stuff like that, it disrupts that section of your body's energy field, and so you're more prone to injury. And my brother used to do this awesome thing where you'd have your ring on your finger or your watch, and you put your thumb and your first finger together, and he would pry them apart. Well, if you don't have a ring or a watch on, you can't pry them apart. But as soon as you put a ring on, you can pry it apart. And it's pretty interesting. And it's like, you're like, holy crap. And I've showed so many patients this. Like, I had one guy that had so much jewelry on him, and he had multiple falls. Yeah. Like, all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, take this off. Let me show you something. Because we were talking about getting his strength back, rehab and stuff. And I go, this is your Eastern medicine kind of philosophy. And take this shit off, man. You don't need it, man. And so there's, signs of injuries, and you actually see players that have actually had increased injuries due to wearing jewelry during sports.
Interesting.
And stuff like that. And so, like, the cell phone alone, I actually had 2, and, still studies showed that, like, the Razor phone, Nokia, right? Nokia? Motorola. That put off so much
energy, so much radiation, radio frequency.
In a hospital, we weren't allowed to have those in there, because when you walk by any equipment, the equipment would actually hum.
Oh, jeez.
And they eventually changed the frequency, but it was crazy. We actually had an old balloon pump, which basically is a pump that pumps the heart for you while you're at your healing. It's the best layman's term I can say. So the balloon's actually in the heart, and it's basically pumping. I remember this doctor walked in, and he had his phone, and he walked by the balloon pump, and it just shut off. We're like, what the fuck? So we're like, what the hell? And he's like, turn it on. And we're like, we could not get it to turn back on. And so we basically had to start doing CPR on this patient.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're like, what the hell? So until he could get another pump in there and put it in. But what's funny is, as soon as they rolled it out of the room, it turned back on. We're like, oh, what the hell? So they brought it back in, and as soon as it got close to the doctor, it went off again. We're like, what the hell? And then he jokingly goes, I wonder if it's my phone. And so he literally tossed the phone to another nurse that was outside of the room and said, hey, here, catch this. And as soon as it literally left the room, the pump came back on.
That's crazy.
And we're like, holy crap. So then, of course, the hospital said no cell phones, and then you saw that in hospitals for a long time. That's how the frequency changed. The same concept was why airplanes.
Like, there's the radio frequency stuff that does affect us, causes cancer, all that kind of thing. But like, when I was in the military, I was trained on satellite communications, so big 70-foot satellite base station.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a funny thing about signal corps in the military, that those who are in signal only have daughters.
Oh,
yeah. But one of the safety trainings that they did with satellite communications was, how can you tell if a satellite is transmitting? And now these are big satellites, so they're very powerful. But the way that you can tell if it's transmitting, if you're doing maintenance and stuff.
Your balls would glow?
No, your eyes would hurt.
Oh.
Because the frequency is starting to melt the gel in your eyes and make it boil if you sit there long enough. That's the first thing.
Cool.
That's like that's the safety training. That like, hey, if you're walking in front of this and your eyes start hurting, you need to get out of the way, because it'll literally boil the liquid in your eyes.
That's crazy.
Well, I don't know how long it takes for the boiling to happen, but like, yeah, your eyes would start hurting, because that you're transmitting a signal thousands and thousands of miles out to space.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy because we actually had 2 anesthesiologists that they got one of the original Razor phones, and they were like roommates. I think they were students originally. But they both had brain tumors on the right side, where they used phone all the time.
Yeah.
Because they were on the phone so much.
Yeah. And they've gotten better, they're not quite as, but it's still an issue.
But I can tell you right now, I've seen
women that would get breast cancer because they always put it in their bra,
Yeah. Well, and the thing is they actually, I saw a new video showing like never ever sleep with your phone in your bed while it's charging because it puts off 3 times, I think 3 or 4, I don't remember the amount, but it puts off way more radiation when it's charging. And so they say don't talk on your phone when it's charging, don't do anything on your phone touching it while it charges because it puts off so much more since they updated to the high speed charging in the little pad in the section. The other thing is, like, I personally, when I have it in my back pocket, my sciatic nerve, like my muscles will actually start hurting to the point. And if I have my work cell phone in my front pocket, my phone in the back, that limp.
Start walking with a limp.
No, seriously, I look like Quasimodo. I'm like, it hurts so bad, but it will actually get hot. My ass and my hip will start like getting hot and just start hurting. And then as soon as I take that phone out of my pocket, it goes away. So I try not to keep my phone on me at all.
And I think one of the things that distinguishes our generation from others is we actually like believe that we hear, you know, because there's a lot of people who are like, oh, it's conspiracy. I think our generation is like, we love conspiracies for some reason.
Well, and we've known that the last year, a lot of them have been true.
Yeah, it's only conspiracy until it's proven. But like, we love the conspiracies, and so when we hear about this kind of stuff, like the radiation from the cell phones and all this kind of stuff, we're like, holy shit. Where
and they know,
like my kids, they don't care. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they care, but they don't. It's no. This is what I'm doing. This is me. This is I'm watching my stuff. I'm doing my little TikToks, whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, totally inside. Do you know that cell phones that have the original TikTok still loaded on them are selling for thousands on eBay?
Well, Trump it's stupid because he got it back on that same night.
No. Like, I don't know if it's still that way, but you can't download TikTok anymore.
Oh, if you still have it on there.
Yeah. So if it's original, if you had it on your phone and you didn't delete it off your phone when they banned it for 12 hours, then there are cell phones that are selling for like $1,200 supposedly.
Oh, idiots.
Yeah.
People are. That's sad. And then what they're saying, oh man, I wish I need to start like taking pictures of this random shit because like I hate giving miss wrong, like numbers are wrong and stuff.
Well, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only, so if it's wrong, it's wrong, and we're just going to act like it's true. And if you believe it, that's on you.
Well, there was actually I forgot, I don't remember what city, but they said they had over 6,000 911 calls when TikTok went down to help them with their TikTok.
What is wrong with our society?
Like, what the fuck? You do not belong to us. You should not have a cell phone.
You know, I say what's wrong with our society, but at the same time, when the internet's out, and like, because all the TVs work off of internet now, it's all streaming services.
Yeah.
When the internet's out, I'm like, I get agitated the longer it gets before it goes back on.
I'm just like, all right, I guess I'll go build some Oreos.
So the way I kind of react to it is like, no, I pay for this to work. It needs to work, you know.
Well,
but it's really just,
yeah. And it's funny because like the internet's great. Jones it's always there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, these liberals act like they didn't say something, but we can just go back and pull it up and go, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And it's so there that when you had Google trying to erase the whole assassination of Trump and they got caught, I'm like, you fucking idiots. I mean, come on, man. And you had the fucking Amazon.
But then at the same time, the news cycle is so fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's there's another downside to the technology is that like everybody wants everything right now. We're only paying attention to the last like 2 minutes. And so if something is a week old, we forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, that's, yeah. Well, yeah, I just saw that thing yesterday and I already forgot about it.
Enjoying cell phones is Gen X.
Well, yeah. And I think the other thing that makes us unique in our generation is we are actually the techno conversion generation or technology conversion generation.
Yeah.
Everything was invented
in our while we were,
you know, obviously in the 70s, 80s, but it profounded or excelled late 80s or 90s. And it's just interesting because, you know, you went from thank God my parents can't find me to everywhere.
Yeah. Cell phones.
Ring, ring, ring.
All right.
Yeah, you know, in the comments, you know, let us know what you guys feel about cell phones if you think it's a necessary evil, and then I like the age idea. Like,
Yeah. How young is too young?
yeah,
So,
and how old is too old?
and how old is too old? Yeah. All right. How do we want to close this out again?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in our conversation about cell phones.
Yeah, and so Kansas City, stay classy.
Stay classy, Kansas City. So cheesy.
Remember to like and subscribe for future content and alerts for when we drop a new episode on Tuesdays.
And visit our website to become an exclusive member where you can get behind-the-scenes content and discounts on merch.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our topic today. Remember, this is for our entertainment purposes, but we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Please, sir, please.
Please, we're begging you. Please, we're begging.
Hey, join us next time when we are joined with Jason and we talk about gaming. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it corrupt your kids like the Congress tried to tell us?
It does. Yeah, Jason's the owner of MVP Gaming. Great setup. It's a place to bring your kids, bring your friends, whoever, your boys, your girls.
And it's fairly well priced too. Like
Very well priced, yeah.
So
It's a lot of fun.
looking forward to it. See you soon.